Okay, Congress, Republicans and Democrats in a major fight right now to fix Social Security and also potentially cutting benefits to Medicaid. We'll go over the details here in this video. There's a lot of different reform talks here going on right now, and they're trying to do it this year because next year would be an election year. And with all the details of Social Security, Medicare, trust fund going to be running out of money here in just a mere few years within the next decade based on new Congressional Budget Office reports. Well, this is now the time to do it. The more they wait, the worse off it will be here for Americans. I'll give you the details here. Yeah, you can see here Democrats vow fierce fight if the GOP cuts Medicaid. Yeah, and remember here that there is, according to estimates for the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, over 84 million people were enrolled in Medicaid in 2021. And almost 37% of them are children. That's a lot of people here. If we take the population of how many people are in the US, 330, almost 2 million, and 84 million people and children total are on Medicaid, 84 divided by 332, that means about 25% of Americans, children combined, about 25% of the population is on Medicaid. 84 million people. It's a lot of people, right? Yeah. And you can see here, according to Google, Medicaid spending grew 9.2% to $734 billion in 2021. I don't think we have 2022 numbers yet, but it's probably even higher than that. So it's getting close to $1 trillion a year, or 17% of the total NHE. Private health insurance grew 5.8% as well to $1.2 trillion in 2021, 1,201,000 billion, which is 1.2 trillion. Yeah, this is Medicaid, not Medicare. So that's a distinct difference. Out-of-pocket spending grew 10% to 433 billion, or 10% of total NHE. Yeah, so there's $734 billion spent each year on Medicaid. And in case you guys aren't aware, Medicaid literally just comes from, well, tax dollars and government. Medicaid is a nationwide program jointly funded by the federal government and the states. And you can see here, Democrats vow fierce fight if Republicans cut Medicaid. Remember that right now Republicans are looking to cut and save money for the federal deficit. Actually, Biden actually proposed as well a $2 trillion deficit cut over the next decade as well. So these are the talks of what is going on in Congress. But Democrats do not want to cut Medicaid, but this is something that might be a strong arm negotiation. House Democrats are vowing a fierce fight over Medicaid, which is, not really paid into like Social Security and maybe Medicare is, as Republicans eye plans to curb spending for the low-income healthcare program in the name of deficit reduction. Joining President Biden, the Democrats are warning that Medicaid cuts would disproportionately impact the same vulnerable population least able to absorb the hits, including low-income kids, seniors, and the disabled, who together represent almost 3/4 of Medicaid spending. Wow. Democrats are pledging to defend the program from the GOP's cost-cutting designs, raising the stakes in the prickly debate over how to hike the debt ceiling and heightening the chances of a government shutdown later this year. Representative Frank Pallone, a senior Democrat on the Energy and Commerce Committee, says we're going to resist them completely. Who has jurisdiction over the Medicaid program. The federal entitlements have long been a target of the Republican Party, whose traditional brand has featured ideological opposition to government-run health and retirement programs. This year, however, GOP leaders have repeatedly vowed to protect Social Security and Medicare, a reversal heavily influenced by the 2016 arrival of Donald Trump, whose support for both programs helped fuel his campaign and propelled him into the White House. Speaker Kevin McCarthy said that both programs are off the table for the debt ceiling debate, but could be on the table afterwards. But a lot of other Republicans say they should be on the table for these debates. Yeah, you can see here the far-right Freedom Caucus have endorsed that sentiment. You can see here with major budget items off the table, including tax hikes and cuts to the Pentagon, Social Security, and Medicare, many Republicans view Medicaid, as well as Obamacare, as a key target in their deficit reduction designs. Because Republicans already know what they're going to say here. What can we cut? If everything's off the table, what can we cut? A number of conservatives, including Representative Matt Gaetz from Florida, Chip Roy, Republican from Texas, and Brett Guthrie, Republican from Kentucky, are lining up behind proposals to overhaul Medicaid, including plans to cap spending and apply strict new work requirements governing eligibility. And some of those ideas are receiving a welcome reception from other well-placed Republicans, including Representative Kathy McMorris Rodgers from Washington, who chairs the Energy and Commerce Committee. McMorris Rodgers characterized Medicaid as an important safety net, one Republicans want to protect, but pointed to several areas where Republicans see opportunities to cut costs. She's questioning the wisdom of two Obama-era changes in particular. One, the expansion of Medicaid to cover almost everyone up to a certain income level, including able-bodied adults, which is difficult to determine who's able-bodied and stuff. And the enhanced matching rate, also adopted under Obamacare, the bill's most Medicaid costs for expansion population to the federal government. Quote, a lot of Republicans believe that more flexibility within Medicaid would lead to opportunities for better outcomes at a lower cost. Some House Republicans are taking cues from Russ Vought, Trump's former budget director, who has distributed a lengthy set of cost-cutting proposals to guide the GOP Republicans through the looming budget debates. Among the recommendations are provisions to slash roughly $2 trillion from Medicaid and more than $600 billion from Obamacare over the next decade. Democrats are saying, as long as I've been here, Republicans have always wanted to cut Medicaid, and we can't allow that because the people on Medicaid are the lowest income and they have no alternative. So obviously we want to oppose these cuts. Also remember here that about 18 million people are going to be losing Medicaid coverage here after the C-19 pandemic ends here, which is now going to be happening here within around, I think it's May 11th, the president has announced here. Yeah, so that has now been announced. It is going to be happening, and they're estimating about 18 million people. These are people who Medicaid wasn't enforcing all the different rules for people that may have been kicked off, income requirements, all sorts of different rules, people that applied in the last few years and they were just accepted. Well, now they're going to be going over the eligibility rules and the yearly checkups and stuff like that for Medicaid, and we'll be kicking people off who don't fully qualify. So be on the lookout for that. Also, you can see here, as Social Security reform talks heat up, changes to the retirement age, payroll taxes may be on the table including one of the big ones they're talking about now, increasing the Social Security full retirement age once again. Remember, it's already been increased once to age 70 is gaining momentum. I really feel like age 70 is pretty up there. But again, Social Security is running out of money, and there's a whole list of ideas here of what they could do. This being one of them. Remember that they already raised the retirement age once back during the Reagan administration, which technically is kind of a cut to Social Security benefits. Yeah, so you would either be not getting Social Security for a couple more years on the front end, up to age 70, or you would be getting less for those couple years as well. I mean, if you're not getting Social Security for, say, 2 more years, that is technically a cut to your benefits. Talk about not receiving any benefits at all for, say, 2.5 more years or something like that. That's a cut. But you guys can let me know your thoughts here on this. But the problem is that they're gonna have to make some changes one way or another. There's the money's gonna have to come from somewhere. The other alternatives are raising the payroll taxes on the wealthy, which is a possibility as well. Raising the payroll taxes on everybody that pays into Social Security. Say instead of paying 6.2% for the people that work, and the employers, the companies that also pay 6.2%, maybe making both of them pay an extra 1% in could be another compromise. There's a lot of different things that they're discussing. I'll keep you up to date here on this. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. And if you haven't yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below and then the bell icon so you don't miss out on new videos. It's completely free to do so. Remember, new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you find these videos helpful, don't forget to hit the like button for us. Here's some videos you should watch next. You can click here to see some good news actually for millions of Americans and some Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and Medicare updates. And here is an alarming threat from Russia to the United States. That's right. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.